Right. We are on session 11, and this is going to be a fun one. We're kind of been rebooting. Last week we talked about blew out the vision and see all the options, and then got some good stuff there. And now I think next step is
drum roll.
Taking a lane.
Yes. When we are a startup, right? Like we ride razor scooters around our office. We have a kegerator in our co-working space.
String lights.
We have string lights like all the cool kids. We are pivoting. Pivoting is what you do.
Oh, there you go. I think we talked about Silicon Valley on HBO, and
yes.
I actually had a yellow Ford Escape I was driving. It was my commuter car, and it was funny. My team was making fun of me about it because Aviato.
Aviato.
Well,
so yeah, I think last time we summarized a bit about how we've arrived here, where the idea came from. And so I have a couple of updates that I could start with. The first is I released an update of Crop Express, our legacy product, and or our lead gen product or what have you, that now has I had not successfully correctly implemented the size constraints, and so that is fixed. And it also now has our updated README that you and I put together from the last call or the call before. And so to me, I want to add one more feature that we had talked about, which was basically a power user bypass. Because I even at one point I was like, oh, I need a circle image cropped. Let me quick use my own tool. And I went in and it what it output was, I don't remember, 2000 or something. And I was like, wait, this isn't what I want. Like, I want to be able to say, real quick, like we talked about, use it anywhere, like just make it 1,000. And so I'm going to add a simple drop down. I think what I want to do is, like, first of all, it doesn't tell you anywhere in the cropper what size it's going to output it at. You've potentially set that in the settings screen, but you don't know when you're actually cropping. And so I want to add that. And then what I think I'm going to do is add it as a drop down. So it's like this, based on your settings, this is going to export as 2000 by 2000 or 1000 by 1000 or whatever. But in the drop down, I'll have essentially like 2x, 3x, 4x, 0.75x, 0.5x. So it'll be, in the drop down, it's like this is going to export at 2000, but from the drop down, you can say 1000 and then bang, or something like that. So it's just real simple. And then if we want to, we can, or total customize and you can put in whatever crazy numbers you want. But the idea being, quick and easy, you can do something slightly different or proportionately different, logically different.
Hey, give me 1 second. I forgot to do this. Sorry.
So we start over. Yeah, no, it's fine. But yeah, so
awesome confirmation, because like you value the product that you built, we did together, enough to go, I'm using it, I want to keep using it. And I think that's invaluable from a product perspective. Like you value what's there and want to make it, hone it for your own thing, which I think is such a great origin for any product.
Well, and the whole eat your own dog food kind of situation of like, I don't want to open Photoshop and add a circle and like this should just be easy. So with that, the other thing I want to do, but is of lower importance at the moment, is to redo Crop Express, the website, so that it has all the new features and is set up the way we want it. But I think that'll be a weekend hackathon slightly down the road, since we are de-emphasizing this. The website of it, implementation of it, is further de-emphasized. So that's that. And then let me actually share my screen. Share. You see that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so as we talked about, I had gone somewhat far down the path of building a plugin that works against Screenshot Express, which is the screenshot SaaS service API that I built. So you'll see reference to Social Images, which was just sort of the project name that I started with. But me and my crazy colors. Oops, sorry about the dogs. Me and my crazy 80s colors. There's Screenshot Express. So I'm actually pretty pleased with myself with the implementation that I built initially. So here's what we have so far, essentially, is by activating this, it should throw you to a welcome screen. It currently doesn't. But it has this very cool, like, the colors of the app. And so you can either sign up for an account or you can log in. So naturally, I'm going to just log in. Hopefully you can't see my passwords. It signs you in. It shows you what active licenses you have if you have one already. You hit select, and then great, it's all saved. So that's the onboarding, and obviously, like, that's purely technical, but that's, you know, all the steps involved with connecting yourself to the Screenshot Express service. And so obviously up for much debate between the two of us, like what we want to call it, how much we want to obfuscate that we're actually using Screenshot Express behind the scenes, all that stuff. But at least technically, there it is. And then I ripped out some of the stuff that I had, but I think we can sort of illustrate at least what we've got in mind here. And this is where I wanted to start talking through with you a first imagined workflow, right? So in my mind, here's how this works, right? So you're like, I write a blog post and hooray, block editor. And then presumably you'd save draft or you'd publish, but let's just publish for the sake of it, right? And then you're like, okay, now I want to promote my blog post. Let me add a featured image. Upload a file. Documents testing. Nice, pretty landscape. Set featured image, update. This might work, this might not work, but anyway. So it's like you've got a published blog post, and then you say to yourself, okay, now I want to create images for sharing this on Twitter and Facebook. And so what I have so far in here, I have to go start. Whoops. I'll open. It's always fun doing a live tech demo. NPM, I think. No, of course this won't just work.
I'm trying to write some notes too when we get there.
Oh, come on. Okay, not you. Index, CSS, JS. Oh, welcome. Okay, why are you not just working?
This is real life. This is how it goes.
It is real life. Social images. I am in the right place. I have the stuff that I was deleting. It's not admin, it's build. I don't know. This should just work. Was there an error?
While you're doing that, I'm thinking about what you'd want in the end product, the basic.
Mm-hmm. So plugin. Oh, I didn't activate the plugin. Oh no, I did. It's there. Oh gosh, I don't know. Okay, so whatever. But the idea is, wait, I really wanted to show this to you. Iframe.
Go ahead, you keep looking.
Oh, that's what it was. I totally changed this. Okay, so there's currently no menu item, but because what I had changed was started doing it all in React and JavaScript, but I was like, you know what, let's just do this in an easier way. So like that whole welcome screen is actually like you're actually hitting a button and the page reloads, and it's not the like cool Ajaxy way to do it, but who cares? It works. So let's see, we do action build. Hey, there it is. So the idea being that, you know, somewhere on this screen, you're like, okay, it's ready to go, or, you know, here's my blog post. There's a big button somewhere, or I had it up here in the menu item that was like, you know, social images. So it's like, okay, you're ready to go. Now build your social images. So it takes you to a screen where something like this, right? Like this is a dashboard. So we can actually create these things. Instagram card, right? So like you've got things that you're building. And the idea being that you're choosing a channel, which is so channel being Twitter, Facebook, something like that. Obviously, we will introduce custom ones, but this is what defines the size, right? So like if it's Twitter, 1300 by 900, no, 1600 by 900. If it's Instagram, 1080 by 1080. And then we've also got templates. And so right now, I think I only have like a simple one implemented. But the idea is it takes you to an edit screen, right? So we are on, here's my blog post. And I need a name for what these are called. I don't know what they're called. But you've got, you know, the template that you started with, and you should be able to change this as you go. It's like, oh, right, I actually want this for Facebook or whatever, right? And the template is, again, your starting point. But you've got the idea being that you've then got whatever's customizable this is your preview on the right. So again, here's my blog post that was pulled in from the blog post, right? If you want the featured image as the background, well, I didn't implement that, so that's not showing, but that's what would show, you know, in the background. What I do have implemented is, if you wanted to show the date of the post,
Yeah.
right? If you wanted to add a background color, let's just make it red. Right, so pretend your featured image is in there. You can change the font. You can change the size, right? So basically, like based off of a template, you would customize what this looks like. So, this is obviously not an accurate representation because we're saying it's Instagram, but pretend it's Twitter. It's the right proportions. You've got it customized on the right, and then you'd hit a button that says print, essentially, stamp it, create it, whatever that looks like. And then you can go back to your dashboard and we would have the preview of it as it was created. And so then here, or anywhere, there's a button that says download. If it's Twitter, then you've got a share directly to Twitter button, upload it to Buffer kind of thing.
Cool.
So that's the very clunky version, but again, the walkthrough that I'm starting to picture is you create anything you create in here in WordPress, a post, a page, you then have a button that says, okay, use data from this to populate a template. So it's the page title, copy, excerpt, featured image, and then you bang through a bunch of templates. You're like, oh, there's the simple template that has the title on the bottom and the featured image as a background. You've got the card template that's got the featured image above and the title below. You've got the post status template that it automatically inserts your logo on the left and your featured image on the right with a title down below. You've got the what's the other one we looked at? Freemius template that's got the clip art, featured image on the right and the title on the left and lots of white space, whatever. And each one, I guess I'm picturing, have you used Migrate DB Pro from Delicious Brains?
Years ago.
Yeah. So they've got this real, if you're, so it's, migrating data from one site to another. So you go in and you say, start a new migration, and you plug in the credentials and you plug in your settings. And so at any point you can say, go do the migration, push the data, pull the data, or you can save this as a template so that you can, go in regularly and say, pull in the data from the site, pull in the data, it's a new day, pull in the fresh data. And so I'm picturing that kind of flow where, if all you need is, a Twitter image, then click, and you've got one. But, while you're in here, if you've got all this configured, there's a button that says save this, as a template for every post. And so then the next time you come in here, create a thing from scratch or load your, send it to Cory's Twitter template, bang, but again, it pulls in that post data, populates your template. So it's like your post status template where it's like you'd set it up once with a logo on the left and your featured image on the right. You'd hit save. This is the post status, person profile template. And then every time you just come in, drag that down, and it automatically throw it on the screen. You could tweak it a little if you needed to, if the title was too long or something, and then hit print, and then you've got that image.
Cool. So yeah, from a workflow standpoint, I think that's very understandable. What this is around like a broader question that leads back to that, like the open graph and things like that. So, when you paste a link into Slack or you paste it into Facebook or whatever that is, it's pulling some data back from the website.
Correct. Most of it populated by something like Yoast.
Okay. So how does Slack, Facebook, different things know which particular image? Like when you create a post and then you put that image in there, there's multiple options and dimensions with the channels and stuff. So is that stored somewhere on the back end? Like if someone goes, okay, I want it LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, how would that automatically recognize in those platforms, or does
right.
it?
Yeah, we'd have to look into that. Like I know that I've played with another tool before that generated an open graph image for your blog post. And I don't remember if it worked or not. I feel like it didn't work the way I wanted it to, but it hooked into Yoast. So if you had Yoast running, you didn't have to say generate an image and then download an image and then upload an image into Yoast. There was a way that it was like that image was saved to the media library, and then Yoast, there was a hook somewhere, I'm sure, in Yoast, because they're real good about that, that said, for the social image, point at this one. Or maybe they maybe they updated the metadata, the Yoast metadata or something like that. But yeah, it's like, this is like what I just showed is broadly the how we generate images, right? But I think like one of the onboarding things, kind of like Yoast walks you through site basics, right? Like we would have some sort of onboarding as part, connect to Screenshot Express, but then like, what do you want to buy? What do you want your defaults to be? Create, and it's honestly like, it would be a great user onboarding, because it's like, okay, we're going to create, every website full stop needs a default OG open graph image. So let's show you our little template builder, and you're going to build your first template. That's your default website homepage open graph image. Done, saved. And then you can also save this as the default template that'll get used for every post. But instead of pulling in the name of your website, it'll pull in the name of your post. Done. And so if you check a box, then every post you create, we can have it whenever you somehow indicate that you've published, you're ready, then it'll automatically create that open graph image by default. And or any of these things we can get. Ideally, you'd get to a point where you publish a post, you click, okay, I'm ready to promote it. There's a good word. Like the next stage after creating a post, a page, is to promote it, market it, whatever. Click here to generate all of the images you've already set up, or add new ones, or if you want to do it manually every time, you can. But we could automate a lot of that stuff so that it's, because once you get down the road a ways, it's like the clients that I have that are publishing articles, once or twice a day, presumably they would spot check these things, these images created, but ideally, they would click a button and an OG image would be created. And also, like, if they open that dashboard screen, then it's just like, download your Twitter image, or click here to download all of them as a zip to then send to the social media manager or something like that.
So the reason I was asking is related back to workflow too. So you go, like, you hit on it where I was thinking there is like, there's a site specific open graph thing that just gets populated, and then each post has a nuance of that. We're kind of thinking like a thumbnail in a sense, but like for the social images. And back down to workflow, I almost go like, again, not knowing the technical part of this, but I go from a workflow standpoint, you create your blog post, you start your build thing, and like, you don't even select a channel. It's like, here's LinkedIn, here's Twitter, here's Facebook, yes. Here's all those things. And they're already there and generated, not even if you're going to like repost on LinkedIn or share, but like they're already generated because maybe somebody does share your image on LinkedIn, not you.
Right.
And you want that to show up nicely. Yep. So that was just my thought, is like, at first I go, oh, that's cool. He's already thought through all the channels. But then I was like, workflow wise, I just want them built for me, and maybe I'm editing some of those.
Yeah, I think we define some friendly default. And in an onboarding or a setup, we say, by default, we are creating, Facebook being Facebook, they didn't name it anything. They named it Open Graph. Twitter came along second, so they have to call it a Twitter card. Now they'll be out of business soon, so it doesn't really matter. But it's like, in the onboarding, we'll say like, by default, do you want to auto generate Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram for each thing you create? Yes or no? Just toggle using a sensible default, and then you can customize that template.
So I think about this with our Slack community, because it comes in and like, it never looks the way we want it to. And I just go, okay, we can talk about the user options at some point, but I go, I would want every channel, a reasonable channel created, because you don't know if someone's going to put that into Slack or something else.
True.
For the most popular networks. So like, even if you're not using it, you think about your visitors and you go, you want it to show up nice and look nice.
Yeah.
So that's my thinking when I saw that, is like, no matter what, this comes back to Open Graph, like how we create those and then they get tagged appropriately with Open Graph in that post. I think would be an excellent workflow, because then we could say, from the product standpoint, it generates this on, automatically for so that your site looks professional.
Right.
Any edge case that's going to happen, you've made in the design, automation almost. And then post by post, they can edit those. But I like that mindset, because then we can say, I was looking at Open Graph as you were talking, just to kind of understand that more. And I saw some little sample images that came, and I thought, okay, there's some cool ideas here. What we're doing, if we look at the bigger view, and this, this is tied back down to this workflow. What we're trying to accomplish is an easy way to demonstrate an image or some concept of, this is my website where I have done this thing for you. It's like a presentation. And some of the images, I was like, oh, there's some cool design ideas. But you think about it, like, we'll go way back to product mock-ups and like iPhone mock-ups. You know how they always tilt them. And I think what we're trying to do here, the essence of it is, we have a website we do a lot of content for, and when we present that in the social channels or wherever it is, we want people to know, this is an entity. This is a brand, a thing. Like, it's as silly as the little iPhone mock-up when it, or remember those 3D book covers? It's that
3D. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Those like 3D book covers you created, 3D book cover of any PDF you had. It's like almost in that sense. This is a website called Post Status or whatever. And, let me show you this real quick. But see, like this right here, see how it's got the little top shadow?
Yep.
I'm not saying that's how we do it design wise, but the intention is like, these little dots are kind of a signal of, this is a website. This is, even some of the updates, like, I guess that's Facebook, but you're like, those are some interesting design thoughts for the templates. But see, that kind of thinking is, you just made me professional in things I hadn't even thought about. Yeah, because you get to the other side and you see, just like when we went live on YouTube, it's got the default old Post Status logo. And you're like, what you really want is some semblance of branding for the website and the content. So like, this one right here kind of speaks more to the idea of what I'm talking about, is like, that could be a template. Like, we could.
Right. Well, search for, right where you are, search for Open Graph image template, like in the Google box at the top, like image template. Should get a bunch of stuff about tags. Nothing too compelling, but yeah, I love where you're going. Like we could,
Like this right here is, there's just a frame. Like the
Mhm.
image, I was thinking of it as like, I don't know, but there's a frame to the image we create. It's kind of like
Yep.
displaying, this is on my website, this is Phil's website, and I'm presenting it to you. Where like, this, I mean, even the Facebook thing, this is kind of ubiquitous with like, there's a name, there's a
Yep.
logo, there's something here, there's an image. Like this template format, it's pretty standard. People get that.
Yep.
But even if you did something like logo, something like to give it a feel of this is on the web or something, well,
Yep.
like the browser bar kind of thing, I guess.
Well, and you can, I mean, my intention is like I don't want to compete with Canva, and I don't want to get into that technical. I don't want to go that deep. At least for a long time we can't, of like drag and drop, but we can. But I've made it very, very easy to create templates, um, and the intent is to use the um, you know who does it, WooCommerce or EDD or any number of the big plugins. You can copy a template out of a plugin, put it in your theme, and then it'll get incorporated into the plugin. So it's like, Vova from Freemius is like, nope, none of these templates do what I need. Let me create my own. And so he's got his little robot that's, pointing at a browser that has a screenshot of the website built in, just like you said. Or the little, avatar of the author with their little byline already built in, and incorporate those into every template that you create, and subsequently every screenshot of every social image that you create for anything.
I'm on this because we've been, like I was just telling you, I was at Printful trying to do a frame for this, but I go, that's really what we're capturing. When you create a piece of art, you do something, you package it up with a frame, and then like, I'm just roughing this out because I don't have like any InDesign skills, but you go, there's a frame up here that shows like, kind of to this or this one, using that. And then this is just the bar that says this is a packaged thing. Then maybe, I'm only diving into this because I really think this could be really simple formula to start that would really greatly enhance anything I've done. Okay, so site logo,
Yep.
name, that kind of goes up there. And then down here, we know this be meta description maybe or something like that, or excerpt.
Yep.
But like, if you think about that from just these elements for a second,
Right.
like we package that up in a way that feels like this, or like, we're not in the Canva game. I mean, maybe you go do that, or maybe you just put it in the stock image, but that goes here. We pull this from WordPress, pull that from WordPress. There's a link in there. You've got some simple branding. Whoops. I'm trying to find the image to copy it because like that's up here. And everybody gets to see my awesome. But yeah, like in this, we'd only have to generate something like this. Like I could think we could get this lightly styled, very lightly styled, pull in their logo name, have the big image here. And like, I think that I mean, gosh, that right there, Cory, is a significant enhancement to anything most people are doing. It's not custom like these we're seeing here, where someone, you know, has a full-time team doing this kind of stuff. But like, then we let them be creative with their own images. Hey, we're not in that game. We're in this game of packaging this content out. And I mean, it's like, you know, the Facebook one is this is the frame up here. That's just the image. And this is just the title tag, headline, and description.
Yep.
That right there would significantly professionalize what we're doing. You know? And then we'd have to stylize the generic one.
Yep. And that's what I was trying to illustrate with, like, so what you saw on the right of my little demo is, you know, the title of the blog post, featured image in the back. So that's one template, right? And this kind of thing would be another, or wrapped in a browser, a fake browser would be another. And, you know, so it's, and if they're simple to create, mostly done in CSS, then it's just a matter of somebody, me or you or both of us, like essentially cranking these out. I mean, we don't want to overwhelm. The point is not to have a gajillion templates, at least not to start with, but a few sensible defaults that, like you said, gives everybody their initial leg up. So like right out of the box, you've got a sensible default, something to work with.
Sorry, I can't help myself. By the way, the circle logo you can create with Crop Express.
Give your big image a background color.
When we first started doing that, I couldn't remember how to do that.
Yep, there you go.
I mean, even if you took the frame off, we'd probably want to play with these and see how they looked in the different social platforms, but
right. Well, and that's the joy of this. So it's, you know, so there's right now, like I just looked, LinkedIn uses Facebook's OG image. Instagram, you can't import. And so out of the box, we're only talking about two. We're talking about Facebook's OG image and Twitter card image. So whatever their specs are, and again, because we're screenshotting HTML, it's responsive. And so presumably you can use the same template,
yeah,
you know, for both. And it's like, okay, well, no, I don't want the Cory template. I want the Cory template. It doesn't work. Our names are the same. I don't want the Cory template. I want the Miller template. And that one's got a black background, you know, it's black on white. So it's like your themes on the right there. It's like one is black on white, one is white on black, one is gray with, you know, little colors on it. And so you're like, that's what all of my images look like. For every post I create, it automatically creates a Facebook or an OG image and a Twitter image. As soon as I hit publish, or even before, if I click a button and say generate based on what's, the information that's here. And then, like you said, as soon as somebody shares it, drops it into Slack, shares it via Twitter, Facebook, whatever, like it'll pull in the image you want that's been generated that is more than just your featured image. And then, we get into this kind of stuff where it's like, what are all of the, this is where I guess the channels thing comes in, right? Like, so a channel can not only be, technically, like Instagram is a channel, but Instagram has stories, which are a vertical 16:9 to traditional Instagram, which is square. You can share horizontal, vertical, or square on Twitter. LinkedIn carousel is going to have their own thing. What's the optimal? You're in Google Slides. What's the optimal Google slide size and shape? Like, so we can basically, that's where we once we have the way to present templates, we can go crazy creating templates for every single channel and every scenario.
Yeah. I was just thinking too, the option where you don't have an image, but it creates an open graph type image for you and what you want.
Well, and this is where we had talked about too, like you could have a template that looks at the content of the story for anything that's in a block quote and pulls out the first block quote, or pulls out every block quote and generates an image for each of those quotes. So now if you've got 3 block quotes, you've now got 3 images that are all sized and stylized for Twitter. And so then you say, okay, post this one today, this one tomorrow, and this one on Thursday.
Capture. This is just me capturing lists. Like, even if it had an open quote, like you don't really have an image, but you have a powerful quote in here. CSS can use some brand, like whatever your default site is.
Yeah.
Then I love that.
Some basic styling. It's pulling in your, WordPress customizer has a place for a logo, so we can reach for it there. And otherwise we can say specify a logo to use across all your templates. And it'll auto populate, and then you can obviously drill down and customize each one as you mess with it, or mess with it as much as you want to. But so backing up, I'm creating a system for customizing a couple of templates to start with manually. And let's start with featured image kind of comment here to me, which I'm 100% on board with, is the ability to set one of those essentially as a default so that it's auto-generated, so that the moment you hit publish, your story has a handsome OG image, and we'll see about hooking that into Yoast or what have you. And then we can continue to take it further, because it's like, let's at least cover the basics. Let's cover the bases. Me and my sports metaphors. You're that guy. Let's at least do the basic of generating an OG image, which is, for better or worse, is the couple of other plugins or products that I've seen. That's where they start, but they also end there. So it's like, great, let's take it further than that, of generating a Twitter card image, but then also any other image you want. The workflow will start to get a little clunky, because you are going to have to do something with those images upload them to Buffer or upload them manually to Twitter or whatever, but at least those images exist, at least based off of WordPress post data and a template or templates that you've presumably built once and then said save. You can, the next time you publish a post, you hit generate all these images, download a zip, and then you don't have to go to Canva, and you don't have to tweak, or copy, duplicate, and tweak and insert your own data and stuff. They're just there.
Yeah. Well, like, sorry, I was thinking too, here's where I'm going with this too, is I would imagine if we can create, my site, let's say, has 500 posts on there with no social images.
Ooh.
See where I'm going?
Yeah.
Install, and it gives you a base, nicely styled, professional enough thing that can go backwards.
Yep.
Oh, now you've just made shit ton of work extremely easy and increased their professionalism. So what I was just doing was thinking about the site-wide thing. It's just a simple business card,
Yep.
The logo. Here's the site. Here's our tagline. Like, that might be it. Just what we've done, but we've 100x'd this thing that exists that, you go to all these sites and you're like, God, they've got a whole team doing this stuff. We just haven't gone, boom. There's value, man.
Oh, huge. And that's like, that to me is another Delicious Brains product, the Offload S3. And the free version lets you start today. The pro version, among other things, lets you go back and essentially catch up.
See, and that's killer. I mean, imagine all these. Okay, now we've hit a huge value prop, because imagine all the WordPress website maintenance companies that go, by the way, we noticed your site is just not displaying too professionally. We're going to install this and click it, and it's done.
Yep.
Holy shit. I mean,
and even taking that a little further, like if I'm the agency, I come in, or I'm the developer, I come in, I'm like, yeah, I'm building this thing for you, but or updating this thing for you, but like you said, I've noticed that a lot of these old pages don't have these images, whatever. I come in and I set styles. It's like, what's like you said, what's your logo, what's your brand colors, what's your, and so then it's all on brand too.
it's all on brand. And then, like, I'm at any B2B site. So when it shows up, they might go, like, right there, they put incredible fingertip address, like all the addresses. I mean, this is just nothing but a business card for your website.
Right.
I'm going to capture that for our marketing.
And then WooCommerce.
Right.
So like, every product you already have on your website, it just goes back through and populates. And it, like we've said in a previous call, product image, bullet points. You probably don't want to do price, but if you've got if each of your products has bullet points or has reviews, so picture of image, title of image, or title of product, picture of product, title of product, 400 reviews, 5 stars, and an excerpt. This widget is the best widget, What do you do? What do you see if I go to Amazon? I want to share this backpack, copy link. I go over to post status. I find Cory. I say, this is the backpack I'm looking at. What does it do? What does it do? Apparently nothing. Feeling it just takes a minute to populate. Nothing. I feel like maybe Slack's being slow or something. Oops. Okay. So
do you want to share your window and I'll?
No, I don't have anything to share. I was just seeing, I went and grabbed a URL from Amazon and pasted it into post status to you to see what it would populate with, but it didn't actually populate anything.
A basic business card for your website basically is what we're doing. And then on top of that is, something like this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean by so part of the onboarding, which I think would be great because it helps people get set up, is, upload a logo or specify where a logo is. I mean, Yoast does the same thing. And so it'll give you the data points that it'll give us the data, give the plugin the data points that it needs to build a sensible default.
And so much.
And then that's your starting point for, every time you want to share a post, start here. Well, no, this one actually has a featured image. Let's put that in. Or, if it's this is your business card for your website, but then, it's a WooCommerce shop. So you actually want products. So it's like, then you'd say, okay, we'll copy this business card template, but then, show the featured image or something.
And doing that across the website, huge, like 10 times better than what you have, 100 times better than what you have, just with some basic, like when I did the Google search of the business card, it said simple, modern business card.
Mm-hmm.
That's your favicon, or you upload your own little image. That's your site title, that's your site tagline, maybe that's editable. And then you add in your little information.
Yeah. And the default, is all of these sites will go and grab, ideally there's an OG image. And so you are creating one in Canva and re-importing it, or it's trying to grab the first image on the page. So usually that's the featured image. It's like we said, what kind of started this whole conversation a month ago now between you and I is the better than a featured image, put some bullet points on it, put the title, put the, whatever other data points you can add, so that when they share it, it's not just an image, an abstract image. Oh, it's a widget. It's like, oh no, it's a widget that has these benefits. Buy it on this website.
So an open graph question is, we're talking about generating the HTML snapshot and then making it where it's across the site. But we do have the HTML sitting there too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Open Graph does that, but for what it looks like, it seems like it's an image. But we still have the HTML code rendered somewhere.
Yep.
Okay, so this right here, I just wanted to go down there to see, okay, there's something here. Basically, the value prop is overnight, flesh out in a more professional manner your open graph social distributions. I mean, I'd go back to something like this. If I don't have a featured image, which I don't in most of my blog posts, and it'll just pull a simple image that looks a little, it's a treatment like we've been talking about the images. What are you trying to do is just show its image. And if you set your defaults like having, you're like, whatever we're yellow or we're orange. So we probably don't want to do that, but right there, you just made something a little nicer.
Yeah. Or your, logo in the top right, or, if there isn't a featured, or, and so if there's a featured image, it shows up. If there isn't, you have at least got your logo, and or the option to, we could even have an option that says, like, if you don't have a featured image, just do a big old logo.
Yeah, like, the ultimate guide to social images, is the headline. There's that option and stuff like that. Anyway, I think there's a lot here, all that to say.
Yeah.
That with the premise of open, we know it is open graph, but it's probably not the marketing side, but it's like instantly create a more professional open graph presence for your entire site. Something better, like these will be images too. And so in that, if programmatically we could say that it'll pull your featured image into these, spots, and we're saving that image, that automatically puts an image back into that post, right?
Oh yeah, we could do that.
So
use this as featured image, generate better image, replace featured image.
I mean, it's kind of like the 3D book cover. Those were just generated because it was all digital assets. So they wanted a visual way to do that, and the same people doing that.
Software too. Remember, they would show a box like you'd buy at Staples, but you couldn't actually walk into Staples and buy it. Album covers, t-shirts. Yeah. I mean, there's good examples online. There's lots of little apps now that you can build the screenshots, or take a screenshot and it puts it in a browser and puts it at a tilt, like you said. Like we'd have to play with all that, but put it in a browser wrapper, put it on an iPhone, have somebody smiling and holding it on their iPhone, all those things. Like we can, again, once we've got the template builder, essentially, then our imagination, as long as we can do it in HTML, then we can create a template that does that. And people can build their own too, which is what I really like, because you're going to have nerds like me who will look at a couple of our simple templates and go, oh, cool. Let me go build my own specific to my website, my own branding, or,
Yeah.
And then we created marketplace, and people can sell the templates and get a commission. We'll go crazy, baby.
Yeah. I was just trying to scope this out of, okay, this all seems valuable to people, to me, and I think it should be to other people. And then, like you said it, well, I mean, one is creating an open graph image for each post. Site-wide in each post, what we have here. I didn't, there's another benefit that we talked about. It's like, well, like for my site would instantly get a bunch of thumbnails, or, the book cover type treatment. Then you just told the search engines, I've got new image content.
Mm.
You've made an update to existing posts,
Yep.
So that's my maybe part 3 or something, or I don't even know, but I just see that value going, oh, because you can show people are tired of seeing, crap, you're doing all this content work, but you're tired of seeing the social distribution, open graph stuff look like crap. This solves that problem with a click.
Yep.
So that's why I wanted to go down this of like, this right here, there's a pot of gold here. I mean, if you have great content in the past, but you don't really have a lot of strong image stuff, then use these two.
Yep.
Like the table of contents plugin, it'll auto generate something, and then you click, it'll pull it, and then you go, yeah, save whatever it is, and then now you've added an image. Image search is what we talked about last time. Image search to a blog post with a little bit with some automation here.
That's really cool.
Yeah. With, doesn't seem like a ton of work for the user side. Maybe there's an option here per post, which is use the excerpt, use the first block quote, find the H2s, the lists or something, you know what I mean? And then you just, because I was trying to think from image search for a second, you go, that's another way to get search engine traffic and visibility for your brand. I mean, summarize it. Look, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. Summarize your content with this kind of.
Yeah, the TLDR.
Yeah. So for the template engine, I wanted to get all this because it's like, well, these are all the ingredients that we could potentially want, so that when you start building it, like, okay, I need to maybe for an image, you can pull H2s, pull the first block quote, and that auto populates in here. Okay, thank you for going all the way down there. Now back to this. Does this give some more fleshed out detail to the template workflow, the workflow conversation?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where to start. I think that the workflow that I'm working on still works. I think we start with posts, and then we can implement like the site-wide version using whatever we've defined, because it's like, to me, the posts paradigm is the example that we will then implement everywhere. So we can basically take whatever little builder I design and stick it back in the welcome. So it's like, okay, connect your account. Let's create your site business card. Do you want to then use this for all posts? Do you want to then, generate business cards for each post retroactively? And then do you want to get into social images? This is kind of cool because it's like, we're not even, in my mind, it was about social. Like I said, I'd even, the sort of code name for this project for me was social images. It's like I'm writing a post and then I'm generating an image for Twitter or Facebook, etc. But we're now talking about like, there's so much other value before we even get to social, technically. I mean, it's all technically social because it's about, if you're sharing a post, then it pulls in the featured image or the OG image. But that's all. It's great because it's all, you're covering your bases of incoming traffic, and then you can go do your outbound marketing. The shields are up. and then you fire the torpedoes.
Yeah. It seems
Poked on.
like start with the site wide, like you said. And there's an option just to make that at the beginning, to make that if no social link or something is there, use this option. Then you've professionalized your site. Then you could do the per post.
Yeah.
Option.
And then give us all your money if you want to go to do the past ones and or the WooCommerce add-on and or 100 other things we haven't, the marketing kit generator. So it automatically spits out Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, one click generate, one click download, upload it to Buffer, Buffer integration, or whatever you use to schedule your social posts.
Yeah,
All those are
even before getting to the post, you could say like this, just generate it for everything on the site. So there is an open graph image. Then when you want to tweak per post, product, page, whatever that is, there's maybe in post tweaking options where we can say update from generic. There's a fallback for the site wide. And then as you want, you come in here and then we could look at which ones we do first.
Yep. But I like the idea of a sensible default. I was like, I'm picturing again, like one of my sites, client sites, is a magazine that's been online for 12 years. So half the posts, so many of the posts have images, random sizes and things like that. But they've all at least got a title and an image and a publish date. Some of that's not true, but like you could say, okay, so if somebody for whatever reason shares a post from 10 years ago, it still looks basically good, better than it looks now, where it's just a random featured image.
I mean, okay, so in that you go, here's this one for just the site. And then when you go to post, you're like, maybe it's some treatment like this. Like if there's a featured image, don't do the generic, pull in featured image.
Yep.
And God, I gotta believe, Cory, that the premise is if you can just make your site look professional with a click, and I think that this right here would be the way to start. Like a default image with an option to apply to and then if there's a featured image in that post, go ahead and create a featured image thing. God.
Right.
So with that, my hypothesis would be start here and if we can get the apply to all posts, that's worth $100. Like instantly. Think about how long you'd have to go to update every post, but in one click, you could essentially set a very nice, we'd have to land the design, just a really nice modern looking design, but like in one click, that's not worth $100. Update your open graph.
Right.
And even here, we've said, if a post has featured image, use it with X template. If you got that out, like for right now, my value prop for post test would be
Right. Yeah.
Then if we wanted to going forward, we could look at for post status as a client. Okay, now ongoing, when V2 hits, select an image right there in the post, block quote, free form.
Yeah, I'm picturing a screen. It's like if we can, we're totally blue skying here. It's like, but it's, generate image. I want to generate a bunch of images. A screen opens up that says, looks like it has a featured image, looks like it has a couple of images in line. So check, check, check. So that's 3. Looks like it has block quotes, 2 block quotes. Do you want to use them? I'll say this one and not this one, and so it's like, now generate. That's fine. It just spits out five different images, and you go, oh yeah, I like this one and this one, that it fits together well. But I think we can, with some degree of reliability, we can at least try to pull stuff out. Like, we featured image for sure, title for sure, excerpt for sure. I like your idea of essentially looking at H2s, creating an outline. And so, they could just say, yep, that outline works, that's accurate, or it's not. Block quotes are easy because they're surrounded by, if they're done right, they're HTML, it's an actual block quote tag. And so they can basically just, we say, here's your template, and then here's all the elements from the page that we've detected. You can add your own too, now click a button to sort of put them together.
Man, I really like this. I feel when we talked about Carpet Express, it was a utility thing we thought we needed. We know we needed, and we think hypothesis is everybody probably needs this mostly. But that was a very tiny detail in a process.
Right.
We just got in a workflow process. We just got to a whole site value prop. Like just right here.
Right.
Now my question would be, we're doing this from a SaaS that you've already built in the back, like it has to take the information, send it over, snapshot it, send it back.
Right.
It's almost a blend, like the plugin in some sense might be some of the design stuff, but it's a plugin with a SaaS component to it.
Right.
I don't know if that makes it easier, harder, whatever, but
right. Well, I mean, the way I'd set this stuff up originally was, I was like, there's an API over there that obviously your average person doesn't know about, but you can put any product you want in front of it. And like, I'm basically just running like a water company, electric company, utility. Like, I don't care if you're running a blender or an air conditioner, I'm just selling you electricity. So my intention originally was to just, here's this thing, it generates screenshots, and then build all these little apps in front of it, or you can build your own. And I just charge for per screenshot. Trying to think of, so it's like, you look at Awesome Motives, Opt-in Monster comes to mind. They are a SaaS that technically works without the WordPress plugin, but it's really 99% designed to run with the WordPress plugin for WordPress. And so you pay for a number of impressions or a number of campaigns, or I don't remember what it is, but it's something like that. So I think we would definitely want to, we'll have to think about that, right? Because it's like the number of, if we go with my model, it's very abstracted. It's per image generated, but you don't want somebody to sit there and go, oh, well, if I generate one more picture, or if I tweak it and then regenerate and tweak it and regenerate, like, oh, did I spend an eighth of a penny? Like, you don't want people worrying about that. So, some general, but I control the water supply. So we can do it in a way that, you get 1,000 images, or it's per post or per channels, or like we can do something that makes a lot more sense for the end user, or makes sense to the end user without being as technical as, per image generated. And maybe that is what we want. I don't know, but we can kind of do what we want. The downside is I don't have a lot of information yet about how much it actually costs. Because I've generated images for myself in a small quantity, but at scale, I don't know yet.
Well, could we, and I think we should use post status for sure.
Yeah.
That's wide open. There's no worries there. And
I'll give you a discount.
Post status can pay for that. But I want this on post status.
Right.
Then we go like, look what we did. We just overnight with one click, essentially, created. Here's what I don't know from the technical side. So like if we said just you create in there one time the open graph image, okay, go back for the entire site. It comes back. This is the default. That's one image, right?
Right.
Now, I don't know what the option for like just that default business card image here. That's one image.
Yep.
The setting could be, apply this one image across site. I mean, that's just saying programmatically in WordPress that one image in your image library now attaches the default open graph across the database. Am I on track there?
Correct. Because if we do it so that the image comes back and you're hosting it, what do we care? So we have to pay for a few CPU cycles. That's it.
So there's that, without getting into pricing or whatever, but I just go that.
Yep.
I want that today from post status. I want.
Okay.
Then we could say we could use post status with, I don't know, thousands of articles, but okay, take a lot of these posts probably have a featured image in it on our site.
Yep.
And then run that. I would pay the bill. Post status would pay the bill for that. Now create and just see what kind of thing we're looking at. You got a third here I added though, is like, it's one thing to do the feature, just an open graph image, but that's not saying crop it for Twitter, Facebook. So each post could have 5 different images.
Right. And that's where it gets, I think it may get tricky for the end user to understand, because also they're like, okay, I've generated images. If I share my page, I see one of those images, but where it lives, it's somewhere in the media library. But you're also showing me these other thumbnails. One's a square that says Instagram under it, but it's not on Instagram. Like, what do I do with this? And so like that might be a little tricky. That's not what you're talking about, but to me, that's the bigger product that we're talking about, is like, I kind of like the phrase of like media kit generator, where it's like for each post, create 5 different images and download them as a zip. And so you get a zip file that, or, I mean, we can have a page, click here to open your media kit for this post, and you see all those images, and there's a download button, or again, a share out button, or what have you. But yeah, each post, that's the thing, right? Is it's exponential. So it's per post, or it's each post, and then however many you want per post. And if each post you want to have, and this is probably not a retroactive thing, but it's like, I write a post today, I want Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I want 3 different versions, say they're 3 block quotes. So Facebook times 3, Twitter times 3, Instagram times 3, same treatment, but block quote, block quote, block quote. And so I'm like, okay, because I want to schedule this to go to tweet today, tomorrow, and the next day. Like that's a proper marketing campaign around a new post. But that's 9 social images plus open graph. So that's 10 per post. And that's where it starts to get exponential, not a bad thing. I mean, and these aren't expensive because we're using, cloud computing as you'd expect. But that's where it might get complicated. Like we need to think about like per channel or per variation, or maybe it just is per image generated per post, or maybe it's just per, it's like, okay, every post is, 10 cents and you get 10 images per post. Cause I can't imagine that we're paying a penny per image at the end of the day, especially if we push it all back to their media library, we're not hosting it. So it shouldn't cost us anything to ongoing disk space. At some point we'll delete old images that aren't getting used or something. But, we say, but how you bill for 10 cents, because also there's this, like, one of the things that I wanted to do when I created Screenshot Express initially, I like the idea, as we've talked about in previous sessions, we don't need this. And so we don't need, this is fun for us. This is a pursuit for us, but it's not, do or die. And so it's like, I want to take every opportunity to like play with conventions. And so part of the thing that, always bugs me about various services, for developers, there's the pay per cycle, pay per whatever. And then there's the other ones that are like, you pay $100 and you get 100 things. And if you then need 101, we bump you up to the next payment tier. And that bothers me because it's like, well, what if I only use 80, then I just gave you money, or the price per thing went up. But the inverse, especially for a lot of non-technical people or a lot of non-business thinking people, is like, gulp, I don't want to pay $1 per thing, because what if somebody hacks my site and uses 1,000 things? That just cost me $1,000. And so somewhere in the middle is this, like, pay for blocks, or like there's some friendly way to have variable pricing without it, with sanity checks or something like that. So, and I'm way overthinking it. The truth is we're going to end up just charging $99, for 1,000 images per month. And we can kind of gauge that when we set it up. We're like, oh, it looks like you have 1,000 blog posts. And so we're going to put you in the $1,000 tier, or whatever, whatever it is.
So it occurs to me for a second, just to talk this through, because no, you're not overthinking it. I think you're making sure, if you play this out, what that looks like, and there's some decisions to be made, which are good, I think. So, but like, okay, there's functionality probably, like I can go to Canva and create one default open graph image. Now, applying that across my site, it's functionality, I don't know if it exists, or if it does.
Right. Like you need something like Yoast, but you're plugging in one image. Maybe technically 2. I think they give you Facebook and Twitter. But that's the easy free onboarding for sure.
Yeah.
And then I honestly think that we build this, we run it against post status, we run it against my client site, we look at the bills, and 2 things are going to happen. 1, we're going to know what our costs are. And 2, we will have the experience of using it and go, oh, if I didn't know better, I would expect to pay for this way. And just, it'll just be like, oh, right, it should be $20.
Yeah.
Billed monthly.
Now,
And
as I thought about that, I don't know. I have to go back to Yoast, but I go, the ability to take any image I have, whether OMG does this or not, but apply it across the site. And it's probably not one, it's three, like we're talking about. It's Google showing up, it's Facebook, Twitter, so there's four images, let's say, or something. Now,
two.
and
There really is only two, because as far as I know, everybody uses Open Graph Image. Twitter's the only one that's broken away.
oh,
Like I just Googled, LinkedIn Open Graph, and the article that comes up says, make your website shareable on LinkedIn. And it says below are the OG tags, and it's just Facebook's OG tags. So LinkedIn just uses not just, but LinkedIn uses the same as Facebook.
okay, then here's what I'm thinking. This functionality, no create an image, but just the plug-in type functionality of see this image, apply it across the site to blogs, to everything on my site, so that it's my representation of my site if it doesn't have other things. That feels like that could be a free option.
100%.
That's valuable. Just going, yeah, I went to Canva, I got all my outputs, I want to put them in, and I just want to say, apply that to my site so that instantly everything looks better if it's generic. Okay. But that's like probably a free option for us. Now, where I go value though is right here of I value all of my posts not having the generic, but having a minimal treatment. Generate an image for that post that has, if it has a featured image, put a featured image over here.
Right.
Something like that. See, that's interesting to me. I think that's what we should play with and figure out that, because I go, I want that today. And if it costs me $500, I'd do it. If basic, like think about doing that from Canva, it's going to take you a month.
Oh yeah.
Uploading, creating images, downloading, all this stuff. But that's worth easily $500 for me today of any post on the site has this kind of image treatment with a click, and it's in the appropriate image graph. Now I've just told Google in my media library to send to these pages are new images. I've just updated my content.
Yep.
Like now I'm kind of thinking, Cory, like that's some version of this is actually V1. That's free, but this could be, a small, I'm guessing small free plugin. Upload your image, it's applied generically through your site with some real simple, business card template. But this, or use Canva and just put it up there. This is powerful to me because I go,
It's a huge time saver. That's the time and money, right? Like you said, we're if you're auto generating, and especially if you're auto generating in bulk. Yeah. Okay, let's sign off. I'll go build it.
Okay.
I'll have it to you in 15 minutes. Just kidding.
Do you have an auto generate button for that?
Yeah, it's called Chat GPT.
That's valuable. What do I need to be thinking about for that? Because I'm trying to I have the post that it's head on, but like, okay, what would I want is to be able to go through, auto generate headline, an excerpt. If it has a featured image, put it on there for each post, and be in my media library attached to my post. I mean, that's a lot of value. Am I missing something here? Like I go, with the button click, you could pretty much create new images packaged in a way, and then telling Google, in the social networks, this now exists for this piece of content. I'm having a hard time saying, why wouldn't I want that right now? Like
right.
For some money, I've instantly updated and created new content for every post on my site. And I know themes use the featured image, but we want to be careful replacing the featured image. But you go like a lot of the themes have those, well, like the Freemius blog have those little, well, a lot of sites don't even have that.
The hero.
So,
yeah.
The hero, the thumbnail, whatever that is, where it's just like in the category archive, you've instantly shown a nice basic modern design treatment with your colors and for everything.
Yep. Yeah. And and we'd have a button that says, swap for featured image. Like, we've taken your featured image, we've put some text over it. If you like this, make your featured image better. So then it just one in, one out. We're not going to delete your featured image because you could want to regenerate the image again or something, but it would, so we'll give you that option. Like, you probably don't want to do it by default. But so yeah, for now, let's wrap up for today.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we went over.
No, it's fine. You saw my note. I put a couple of things in Slack.
Sorry, I was in Never Never Land.
I like it when you're in Never Never Land.
Yes, we should get that.
Cool. But I think at this point, like, I'm pretty close to something that does something. And let's have that something, that alpha version, run against, let's create a post status staging or something. But see what let's watch it run, because there's other technical things I want to see. Like we said, pricing. I want to see how long it takes, stuff like that. So let's get into, let's solve the problem for 1 and for 10 and for 100, and then, and we'll continue to talk about the actual product. And we're designing a really nice engine. We'll also talk about what the car looks like, and then we can drop the engine in the car.
So there's 6,800 posts in post status blog posts only.
Okay.
That would be
perfect. That's a great number.
That would be okay. Okay. I'll be thinking about what the card I wanted to look like, but I think it's title, featured image, the standard branding.
And like I said, I couldn't show you, but I have two very basic templates started. They are so easy to create. We can create 10, in an hour, just going, oh, put this here. Cool. That's one. Put this here, background image 2, because I've, for better or worse, like, I went down the rabbit hole of abstracting a lot of this stuff out. So we can just say, I want a color, I want background color, I want text color, so it's just color, font, on and on. So we can even sit down, like, once we have one basic thing that we know is working, then you and I could, have one of these calls where we just knock together 10 different templates.
Okay. Thanks, man. I lost track of time. Thanks for going over.
No, it's fine. But yeah, so stay on for a minute.
Okay.
Session 11 end.